let's go with starting episode 2. This is a sloppy intro, but I'm winging it again. So here we are.
Yeah.
So today, well, I guess first we should start with intros. I'm Reaper.
I'm Ave.
Yeah. All right.
We're just
Well,
going on. We're just
that's
going
that
on the
out of the
fly
way.
today.
Dude, today's I'm a little bit sick, so I'm just trying to take it easy, and my brain's not all there right now. But
Yeah,
we're
you're
gonna
good.
see
It
what we can
happens.
pull off today.
Yep.
All right. Well, today we're gonna be talking about ye old good punches and kicks. We're gonna do some martial arts talk.
All right. Let's get into it.
I just want to say before we get into it, this will be a gaming podcast, but both of us are martial artists, so we jumped at the chance to be able to talk about this.
Yeah. It'll mostly be a game podcast, but every now and then we find something like martial arts. Right now, for example, we're like, oh, this is something we got to talk about, so we're just gonna do it.
Yes, sir. I'm here for it too.
Yeah.
I love stuff like this. The first actual episode, we're deviating from the actual channel. It's great. So originally we were gonna upload every other week, and then Ave speed ran that editing. He was finished like 2 or 3 days ago.
I finished
So I
like
guess
2 or 3
here we
days
are. We're gonna
ago.
do weekly.
Yeah. Only issue I had with it was the music, but I know how to do it now, so it should be faster. Faster
Just
than I
don't
already
burn
did
yourself
it.
out, man.
No, I like it. It's fun. It's fun. I like doing it. It's a new skill to learn, and I'm down for it.
I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, I don't understand anything that's editing, but I mean, you're the pro, so.
Yeah. First episode, editing went well. About halfway through, we had a weird glitch when I accidentally pressed a button, turning off my cursor, and it glitched for about 30 seconds. But I'm not gonna touch anything this time, so I think we should be fine.
Okay, well, let's just hop right in. So, first question that any martial artist would ask another martial artist is, what style do you, what's the word, train? What style have you learned?
Study, learn, practice, something.
Yeah, that's the word, practice.
Yeah. Okay.
Whatever.
At my studio, I go to Omega Martial Arts in Springville. We do a lot of, like, the main things we do is Taekwondo, Hapkido, Jiu-Jitsu, Judo, self-defense, and Okinawan weaponry.
Okay, fair enough. So would you say you do more of like strikes or grabs in general?
Like
Because
me personally, or as a style that we do?
like as well, either or and both.
Okay. Well, let's see. With self-defense, most of our self-defense is just grabs. Recently we've been doing like knife self-defense, and then at some point we'll do gun self-defense. But most of self-defense is grabs.
Fair enough. Yeah, people will tend to grab a lot, as
Yeah.
far as I've heard from stories of people actually getting attacked on the streets.
Yeah. And then the rest of it, I'd say we don't do many grabs in anything. Let's see. No, in judo we do like
I
grab
was gonna
and
say,
throw drills, I guess. Whatever they're called, I can't remember.
yeah. I was gonna say, isn't judo like known for grabs?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of grabbing in judo. I'm now realizing my brain's like chugging, and then it's like, oh.
Okay, well, I guess it's my turn now.
Yeah.
So my style is technically Shaolin Kempo, which originates in China. I think just a little bit of history on it. It came to Hawaii, and then ended up coming up into the U.S. So my sensei actually learned directly from the Shaolin monks, and they are the um they're the group that actually started the style. So that's cool.
That is
Um,
cool.
like I said, they're in China. But also we do a lot of well, it's kind of weird though because Shaolin monks are Chinese, but the word Kempo is Japanese. So it's a weird mix of two different Asian styles, and it's fun. Kempo basically I think it actually directly translates into open fist, which basically means no weapons. So this style is for if you're fighting and you don't have a weapon to use.
Yeah, makes sense.
So the basic idea of the entire style is uh the entire idea of this style is hurt the opponent so bad that they're not going to be getting up to fight you again
Yeah, that's what we've.
because
Yeah, for our sparring, what some of our requirements is doing like 2-on-1 sparring recently, and our goal is to knock the opponent down so they can't get back up and come after you.
dude 2-on-1 is so much fun.
It's fun,
I
but
love
so
it's
hard.
so complex, dude. It is hard, but I live for it.
Yeah.
um so we both do sparring pretty regularly. So let's just talk a little bit about our own personal fighting styles. And you started last time, so I'll start this time.
All right, hold on.
Um,
Let me interrupt real quick to
uh-huh.
the style that we do. Most of it is from either Korea or like Japan.
Oh, right. I totally skipped over that for you. My
Yeah,
bad.
I forgot about it, and then I was like, oh, I'll just jump in whenever. All right.
Okay, so now let's move on to personal fighting styles now that we've talked about martial arts styles. So personally when I'm sparring, I'm actually pretty short compared to like the entire rest of my class, which actually is great in a sense because usually the person like someone who's attacking you on the street is going to be someone who's taller than you because they're confident they can take you on.
Yeah.
So honestly, I feel like it gives me an edge, even though it kind of sucks to spar people who are taller than you.
Yeah, I've
As
had
long
that experience because when I was little, I would always spar these the people that were taller than me, and I'd be just getting beat up. But then there's like opportunities you only have when you're shorter than the other person.
dude, you have to be so like tricksy when you're shorter.
Seriously.
So my fight evolved into this weird like dancing in between being close up so I'm in range and falling back outside of their range.
Hmm.
And it's really really hard and really tiring. And like by the end of the we do sparring 1 hour every week and usually by the end I'm more tired than any of the tall people because all they're doing is just like reach yeah.
Step.
Whereas I'm
Step
like
away.
I'm actually dude it's so bad because okay, we have two sparring instructors, and one of them is actually 6'8", and the other is about as tall as I am. So I get both sides of the spectrum. Um,
Yeah.
so I spar the shorter. I'll spar the shorter one, and he'll be like, "Okay, you're shorter than most people. Here's a few things you can do, like tricksy footwork, feints, and stuff like that." And then I'll fight the taller one, and he's like, "Yeah, so if you just jab really fast."
Yeah, you just jab really fast. That's not how that works. I'm not as tall as you.
Well, here's the thing, though. Okay, is I've actually applied that. His technique is super interesting. So normally with a punch, you want to put your hips behind it, right?
Yeah.
So you can get force behind it. So with his jabs, he's trained his jabs for years to the point that you don't see it coming. Specifically because the first thing that he moves is his fist. So he literally just uses his fist to pull himself forward,
Huh.
and it's
Rocket
terrifying.
fist.
Yep.
Basically.
We call it the lightning jab.
That it sounds
Because normally,
scary.
like, normally you can watch like the head'll shift slightly, or like the hips, or even the feet sometimes. But nah, his punch just launches at you.
Dang, bro.
And like I said, he's like freaking massive. So his arms are giant. And you think you're out of his range because normally that would be out of somebody's range, and then all of a sudden his fist just hit your face.
Yeah. With my reverse punches, they're kind of that way. Uh, people don't expect the range of it because my backside's always turned the way that I have a shorter reach with my reverse punch. But when I like twist my hips and fully extend it, it goes so far and people never expect it.
So is that just like is that a spinning punch, or is that just a punch off the back foot?
It's a reverse punch. It's a punch with the backhand, and so I rotate my hips forward, basically. So I'm standing almost like almost forwards facing to my opponent, and then just extend my reverse hand into a reverse punch, and it goes far.
Okay, so it's kind of like a boxing cross.
Yeah, kind of. I think I know what you're talking about.
I'm talking about the basic like jab cross combo. Jab with the
Uh,
front hand, cross with the back hand.
yeah, like that.
Okay. Yeah, we just don't use fancy terms. We just use the boxing terms because it's
Yeah,
single syllable.
single syllable.
Because like when you're sparring, you've got a mouth guard in, so it's hard to speak and it's hard to understand people who are speaking. So
Yeah,
making your sentences as short as possible can be pretty extremely beneficial, actually.
yeah. When we're sparring, we usually have mouth guards in and our helmets on, so then our ears are
Yep.
mostly covered. So not only can you barely understand the person you're talking to, you can also barely hear them.
Or yourself for that matter.
Yeah, true. So you're like, wait, what am I saying? What are they saying?
You have to
Who's
like,
saying what?
and it doesn't help that the sound of like pads hitting other pads is just ringing throughout the entire studio.
Yeah, it does not help at all.
Okay, I've talked a little bit about my personal style. I want to just add a little bit of I am a kicker. I do a lot of kicks because kicks have longer range.
Kicks are amazing, and I love kicks.
Oh yeah, I'm a kicker, and that's kind of all of that, just because it's got more range. Um,
All right.
yeah. So let's talk about your style, your fighting style, because
Let's
that's
see.
something that we haven't gotten to yet.
Yeah. My fighting style. I tend to do a lot more kicks than use my hands. And I think it gets a little predictable at some point, and I should probably try. I've been trying like recently to work on it, and like I've tried. I can't speak. I've been trying to use my hands more and like spread it out between my hands and my feet recently. But usually by default, because I'm usually taller than a lot of people at my studio, then I tend to do more kicks because it gives me more range against them.
I hate that with a passion. I could not tell you how much I hate that.
Uh, yeah.
Kicks from a tall person are the most deadly garbage I've ever seen. It's so bad.
Well, yeah. I'm like, oh, this is nice, and then
I'm sorry.
I fight our instructor that's like, I would say, like 6'5", maybe 6'4". I don't know. He's huge. Um, but I fight him and he hits me with a kick, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die, and it's bad.
Yeah, no kidding, dude.
Well, because he also kicks like really hard, and it just slams me, and I'm like, oh, that hurt.
Here's one thing that I've heard from one of my instructors is that he matches his tempo and power to what you're outputting to him. So if he's hitting you hard, that's a signal to you that you need to slow down and hit softer. At least when we're practicing.
Yeah. That's actually cool. That's actually cool because then it's like if you're hitting too hard. Because
Yeah,
he'll
you get
he'll be
hit too
hitting.
hard if
Yeah,
you're
you
hitting
get
too
hit
hard.
too hard if you're hitting too hard.
And padding only helps so much.
Yeah,
Eventually, you're just gonna keel over anyway.
yeah. It only helps so much. If you get hit hard enough, you'll feel it.
So we're both kickers. What's your favorite kick?
Um, Favorite kick, probably a roundhouse.
Dude, I have to agree, dude.
Roundhouse is just the
there,
superior kick.
there are so many feints you can do with that garbage.
Yeah, and with my roundhouses, I sometimes I fake before the kick. I like bring my leg up, and then they think I'm gonna kick, so they block. And then when they like slightly lower their guard, I bring in my foot. Or after I kick, I try to keep my leg up a little bit, because then that gives me more like time to reset after the kick, so that they're not able to hit me.
Dude, okay, I went through a whole freaking arc of like things. So I used to kick, and I noticed my kicks were being blocked a lot. So I would throw the first kick weak, and then I'd put power behind the second kick.
Mm.
And then they figured that one out. So I kicked weak twice, and then the third one was power kick.
Uh,
And this was all on one leg, by the way.
oh gosh.
I did it until 4, and then I just stopped. And instead, I raised my leg up. Now I'll raise my leg up, slap my leg with my hand, and then throw a punch.
Yeah, because I think you lift your leg up, that you're gonna throw a kick, and then nope, they get the punch instead.
So now it used to be that like kick, I would do everything with kicks. I blocked with kicks. I striked with kicks. All
Yeah.
my when we would do point sparring, my kicks would earn me all my points. And now I've shifted more to like a mostly hands,
Mm.
but my kicks will get the money shots
Yeah,
still.
kicks just get the money shots, and with with our sparring, I usually uh kicks are what I do, and they usually score most of my points. Sometimes I'll get like a kick and then like a sneaky little punch in there when they're not expecting it. I'll just like slide in and punch them, and they're like, "Oh, that was not what I was expecting."
Yeah. Oh, I had a question and I lost it. Oh goodness. Whatever. Let's just move on. What's next?
Yeah, we'll see
Um,
if you remember it at some point, and we'll go back to
I
it if you
probably
do.
won't.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. How does martial arts benefit your life?
Um, I'd say in
What's like the biggest benefit? Let's just go with that.
probably like self control, because when
Fair
we're
enough. I
when we're sparring without pads, um, we are not. We're supposed to do like semi light contact, uh, but not hit too hard, and some people hit too hard, and I'm like, you gotta like tone it down. And then there's people on like our not the demo team, it's the competition team. There's some people on the competition team. Their kicks, they kick so freaking hard, and it hurts.
just block the kick. Just block the kick.
Yeah, but then my arms hurt. I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter
It's
what I do.
conditioning.
Yeah, but
There's a whole style based around that.
yeah, I'd say self control is probably the biggest element, because I have to be able to control how much power I put into things, when I'm actually hitting or when I'm not hitting. Um, if I'm
Self-control actually encompasses a lot, because
yeah.
that you could also say that applies to balance, um, which is the core of everything, dude. If you don't have good balance, you're not a good fighter.
Yeah. You'll use one hand and then you're gonna fall over if you try and lift up your leg or something.
Dude, if you don't have good balance, you can't throw a good punch. If you don't have a good balance, don't even try lifting up your leg to throw a kick.
No, you lift up your leg and you're like timber and just fall straight over.
Yep. I feel like one of the best things that I've ever done was train my balance to the point that I could stand on one leg for over 10 minutes.
Oh
And that was like
gosh,
years ago. But
dude.
I can still like hold a stance on one leg, like a crane stance, for I think I went 5 minutes before I eventually just stopped a few weeks ago.
Dang. I think
And like I didn't reach my max, but I was to the point where like, okay, I'm bored. I'm gonna go do something else.
yeah.
I'm not timing myself.
Yeah. I think I could probably stand on one foot for I'd say 2 to 3 minutes currently, max. If I'm really like focused and trying my best to balance. And I probably should work on it because sometimes when we do like back turning 180 kicks and sometimes it's a little iffy on the landing and I almost fall over and I should probably work on it, but yeah.
It's all about. Let me tell you, it's all about the way you lean, because
Yeah.
you've gotta balance your core against the force of your kick. So if the harder you throw the kick, the more forward you want to lean.
Yeah. It makes it harder. The harder you kick, you're like, if you hit something, you're gonna be pushing off of it, and so your center of gravity is gonna be like pushed away from where it usually would be, technically speaking. And so you want to try and like
Hmm.
uh, lean away. I don't know how to describe it, but you want to make
No, you don't. You
you
usually don't want to lean away. Actually, well, with a back kick, you do though. With
yeah
a front kick, no. Leaning away will actually just push you over.
yeah. I've lost my words. I don't know how to describe it, but you want to try and stay as balanced as possible so that you don't fall over.
It's so hard to describe martial arts with words.
Yeah, it just it's really hard to describe with words because most of it is just like different techniques and um
It's so
I'm
complicated.
I'm losing it right now. I don't even know what I'm saying.
Because what we call one move is like a series of steps. Because like if you're just gonna throw a front punch, you're shifting the weight off your back foot, you're shifting your weight onto your front foot, you're gonna lean forward slightly, and you're gonna punch all at the same time,
And you
and
got
that's
and
considered
like
one move.
for us we like we wait till the last second to twist our hand to give it that little extra power. It's
Uh huh.
so
Yep.
many steps for one little move.
And then you get to the more advanced stuff,
Yeah.
like a hook kick. Dude, don't even get me started on
Hook
those.
kicks, the steps for hook kicks are like I can't even think of any
Or any
words to
spinning kick,
describe it.
really.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then we get to like in our system they start doing like 360 kicks and I'm like I don't I don't know if I could do that properly.
Full spin kicks, the majority of the difficulty comes from well, there's the balance, but there's also not getting dizzy.
Yeah,
So
you got to focus on something like dancers do.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is that like that's one thing that we pull from actually ballet dancers is when you spin, you need to lock onto a target as you spin, so you need to whip your head around faster than you turn.
Yeah, you need to be looking for a specific like object or person or something when you're spinning.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it
And actually, I
actually.
was
You go first.
Okay. I was training 2 days ago actually. And one of the things we did was our instructor would hold a bag for us, and it's like a little paddle, so it's about half a foot long, and he would hold it vertical, and he would say, "All right, you're throwing a spinning kick, spin all the way around, and then kick to the paddle." And I was surprised at how accurate I was actually, but it took me a minute to actually be able to hit it consistently
Yeah, my accuracy
because
would not be good.
I mean, like I said, I'm older than you, and I've been going for probably longer. How long have you been doing martial arts?
Well, I gotta think about it now. So we moved to Mapleton in when I was in second grade, so that'd been 8 years ago. We've been doing it for 7, almost 8 years, I think.
Okay, yeah, so there's the difference. I've been going for 12 years now.
Yeah, that would do it.
Yeah. So I've got a pretty sizable gap here.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so man, we are so similar actually in like the more this is only episode 2, but the more we talk, the more I realize like we are very kindred spirits.
Yeah, seriously. Let's see.
Oh goodness.
I was gonna say about the focusing thing. Recently I've been trying it when I'm like doing spinning kicks, and it actually really helps. Before I was like I would spin and I was like, oh, I'm getting a little dizzy. Now I spin, it's like ever so slightly dizzy, but uh, it's better than before.
On Wednesday, our instructor held out the bag and he's like, "All right, throw 10 in a row."
Oh gosh. Uh,
I by the 10th one my vision was blurry,
yeah, I would
but I was still
I would assume
standing,
so.
so
Yeah, you're doing like 10 rotations. That's 3,600
yep.
degrees. That's
Yep.
a lot of rotations. I've dreamed
Yeah,
I've dreamed of one day doing a 1080 kick, and I don't think I'm gonna do it.
I don't think that's physically possible. Like just
It's
from the
like
ground.
let's see, it's 3 full
That's two and a
rotations.
half rotations.
2.5 rotations? Wait, let's see.
Hold
That's
up, let me pull out the
900.
calculator.
It's 1080.
What was it, 1060?
It's 1080
No, 1080.
would
Can the
be
zero
3 full
click, please?
rotations.
Divided by 360 equals 3. Yeah, so that's 3 full rotations. That I don't know, it depends. Are you gonna jump for the full 3 rotations? Because if so, that's not possible.
I was gonna
And if
say
you're
you'd have
gonna
to
be
spin 3 full rotations in the air, which would let's see, the speed you would have to be going when you jump off the ground would be insane.
and the amount of spin you have to add too.
Yeah, you'd have to jump and
Like I can
spin
get
so fast that you are basically tornado for 3 rotations.
let's see, I can get 1.5 rotations right now
Which
if
would
I
be what,
like
540?
really put everything into it. I think so. Sounds about right. I don't know. I don't want to. I closed my calculator tab, so
Well, let me think about it. 360 plus 180. That's 540. Yeah.
yeah, that's 540. Yeah.
Yeah. One of my friends at karate, they for his for his open hand form, we used to make an open hand form at red belt. For his, he put a 540 kick in the middle of it. Took him a while to nail it down, but once he got it, it looked so cool.
Dude. On one of my kicks, not sorry, in one of my forms, we have to do a flying side kick and land on one foot.
Uh, that sounds very difficult. I don't. I'm
For people
speechless.
who like, one of one of the students that I train with, one of the people, dislocated his knee twice in sparring, so he gets to just throw a side kick and then hop over. And another person, he's like 80 something. He's got a bad knee, so he also just kicks and then hops. But I have to do the full one step. I only get one step. I get no momentum,
Yeah.
and then I have to land on one foot, and it's the foot I kicked with.
Um. That sounds
Yeah,
really
you can.
hard. I'm just trying to like think of how I would do that, and I don't even know.
You have to throw that kick lightning speed.
Yeah, so you don't hit the ground first. If you don't throw it fast enough, you're falling over.
Yeah, you have to control that speed pretty well because if you have too much momentum, you're gonna tip over, and if you don't have enough momentum, you're gonna tip over the other way.
Yeah.
So, um, let's see. Did that just encompass? We went on a huge tangent after your
Yeah.
life benefit. So let's just go into mine. I'm gonna go actually with a combination of hyperfocus and multitasking. And the reason I'm doing two is because they're actually very similar once you get down to it.
Yeah, they're very similar, and
The
they
hyperfocus,
encompass a lot of the same things.
uh hyperfocus actually comes more from forms than anything else I've found.
Dude. Yeah.
Because the way my sensei likes to have us drill forms is that we'll do it once, and we'll try and snap all our techniques so that like our gi will make that cool snappy sound. And then the next time we go through, we have to have full body muscle tension all the way through, half speed.
Dude, what the?
So it'll kill you
That's a
physically.
yeah, that's a big difference, and all of a sudden you're just like jumping from different power. I don't know what the word is.
You're going from speed and accuracy to power. Yeah.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, you have to be so hyper focused in order to keep everything tense.
Yeah, you have to
Once again,
focus.
throwing kicks is hard.
Yeah.
Have you tried throwing a half speed kick?
Um, I've tried a couple weeks ago, before Christmas break, we were doing a private lesson. Um, let's see. We were doing back turning 180 kicks. And my instructor, he was like, "Okay, now slow it down and you have to I think it was a back turning 180 hook kick." And my issue
Okay.
was I was turning so fast that I was scooping up instead of swiping across. He was like, "Slow it down and see if you can actually do the kick right." I do. I slow it down, and I'm like basically falling over the whole time. And I get to the chamber of the kick, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, can I just gotta finish this kick so I don't fall over." And like,
Bro.
yeah, it's just
I,
half speed kick, not
kicks
fun.
kicks are the skill ceiling.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, if you can throw a good punch, good on you, and that's gonna take you far. But kicks are the skill ceiling.
Yeah,
If
kick
you
skill
get good at
ceiling.
kicks, you can do anything.
Yeah, you can do anything. You got range on your side. You got the power of your legs, and if you train your legs really well, then your kicks will hit really hard.
Uh-huh. Um, let's see.
Yeah, let's see where would we
Let's
go
do.
next?
So let's see. We just did benefits to our life. So let's go into stories we can tell.
All right.
And I think you let off last time.
Yeah, I
So
let
I'll go
off.
off this time and just jump off the same topic.
All right. Yeah, I
So
let
I'm a
off,
kicker,
and
right?
we hold on. I let off, and then we went on a long tangent.
Massive.
So yeah. All right, back to you.
So I'm a kicker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I feel like, well, I just felt like it a few weeks ago. So I grabbed. a weight that's like somewhere between 25 and 30 pounds, and I just did 200 full squats.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
think you were there for it. You were in chat while I was counting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I might have been. And you said after that your legs were just like death.
I tried walking up the stairs. A more accurate description would be falling up the
Falling up
stairs.
the stairs like army crawling up the stairs, dragging your legs behind you.
Yep. I'll just walk up in a handstand. That'll fix all the problems.
Yeah, that'll fix all the problems. Yeah, yeah. But then it circles around to balance because then you gotta not fall over.
Yeah, back to balance again. And you're using two entirely different limbs that
Yeah. They
I'm
don't
just gonna
usually
be real with
support.
you, or won't have as much muscle because let's be honest, your legs are carrying you for 12 hours a day. Your arms aren't.
Your arms are not carrying your entire body weight for most of the day. It makes a big difference. You try and do a handstand or walk on your hands, and you can really tell the difference between your arms and your legs strength wise.
Yeah. All right, so that's my story. Let's go into your story. One of yours next.
Let's see. First story I have is a game. We don't play this game anymore because people got hurt or something. I don't remember. But we called it War. They would pull a bunch of bags out and line the middle of the room with gaps in between them. Then they'd stack our judo pads like one or I think two high in between the bags. And then some people would get like a foam sword, and other people would get these focus pads we have. They're like giant pads that we used as like shields in this game. Some people would have like two focus pads. Some people would have two swords, a sword and a focus pad. It was cool. And then we'd run at each other. We'd hit each other, ram each other with our shield things. Um, and that was so fun. And we used to do it, I'd say, like once every month to 2 months. But I think eventually people had gotten hit enough, like with swords, maybe across the face, or uh, got knocked over by a person with a shield, and like got the air knocked out of them, and so they stopped. They stopped letting us do that game because people were getting hurt too much. But that was always a fun game that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. One of my favorite games that we only ever did once, and then it just got completely forgot about, is that we did sparring in duos,
Oh,
but you can only have one sparring at a time.
oh, it's like tag team
Normally,
sparring.
yeah. So you'd have one person, you'd have like you'd be shadowing your teammate, or your teammate would be shadowing you, and and you could swap whenever you want. And actually, whenever you swap, you can fight together for 5 seconds.
Yo.
So the strategies were so funny. And actually, there's one match that I distinctly remember. So there's another person. I'm a brown belt, and there's another brown belt that was on a team with me, and he's pretty tall, and I'm pretty short, which is why we got put together.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's built like a oh yeah, he's also built like a freaking tank. So that's a side note, though. So I see these two people in front of me. The one who's active steps forward and then tags his partner, and they rush me.
Oh no.
Anyway, so my partner was standing a little too far away, so I swing my hand back, completely miss, and end up spinning.
Oh no.
I lost my balance, and it lost us the match.
Oh no. Red just swings his arm and goes like tornado, falls on the ground.
Yeah. Anyways, so after that, he started shadowing me just a little closer. I realized that my limbs are actually shorter than his, in
Yeah.
fact. And we ended up being voted as the best overall team.
Yo.
So that was cool.
That's
I
sick.
enjoyed that. I mean, I honestly didn't expect much less because we were both like there's no official rankings, but I have like unofficial placements for like how good everybody is,
Mm-hmm.
and I put us both in the top 5 of students, like
Yo,
all the way back then. It's been like a full year now.
that's
Let's see. One person was a black belt, and he was the number one, like by far.
yeah. I would
And
assume.
so,
I would
but he
assume
went
so.
and he went and started his own studio. So, my then partner, has now been bumped up to number 2. There's somebody else who I consider number 1, and I think I've probably fallen down to I considered myself 4th and him 5th before, and I think I've fallen down to probably I've either stayed 4th or I've fallen to 5th,
Mm,
because there are some newcomers that I haven't been going regularly to sparring classes,
yeah.
and I went not last week, 3 weeks ago, because it was before Christmas break. The last time it was available, I went, and I got my butt handed to me by a blue belt. I'll be honest with you, because she's been going weekly and I haven't.
Yeah. That would make sense.
And I'll admit, I definitely underestimated her, because the last time I sparred her, she was like kind of timid and wasn't sure when to go in and when not to. Dude, she just blitzed me.
Yeah. It's like that sometimes. There's Let's see. We've been doing private lessons for a while. Like through COVID, we did private lessons on Zoom, and we come back in person after a while, and uh, we see some people that are like higher belt than us now that used to be the same belt as us or lower, and I fight them, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're good, but I'm like, I also have not been practicing sparring much over a long period of time, so it makes a difference.
Yeah, it really does. The value of consistency is extremely high.
Yeah.
Um, there's one saying that gets passed around in my dojo a lot. I think it was from, might have been from Bruce Lee. Anyways, the quote is, "I fear the man who practices one punch 10,000 times more than the man who practices 10,000 punches one time."
Yeah, that actually makes sense
And
because yeah, because practicing a lot, it'll get you it'll get you better technique, better power. You know how to do it better. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, no, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because I lost my train of thought. Anyways,
Yeah.
let's move on.
I lost my train
Let's
of thought
see.
too. I was hitting those words and I was like, wait a second, what am I saying?
Oh, dude, I don't think I've told you this story. I don't think I've told anybody this story, actually. So there was one time, 6 years ago now. Oh my gosh, how old am I? Anyway, 6 years ago, I was in junior high school, and I was actually going in person,
Mm-hmm.
and that was one of the only years that I went in person. One of my dude, we had a really weird relationship. Like, honestly, frenemies. Like, sometimes we were good friends, and sometimes we were at each other's throats.
Yeah,
Anyways,
it's like
there
that
was this one
sometimes.
time. It was finals week in a class where our teacher was like, a week before, we were ahead in that class.
Mm-hmm.
We were ahead of schedule, so we did the final a week before. So
Yeah.
finals day was actually just a chill day. We
Oh,
were
fun.
playing games, we were messing around. Anyways, my friend walks up behind me and catches me in a rear naked choke.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, dude, my mind went, like, this is my attestment to practice. Okay, my mind goes blank, and I just like whip around and throw him to the ground. I wasn't even thinking. I just moved.
Yeah, your brain just goes on autopilot for you because of all that practice you've done. You know what to do in those circumstances, and your brain just goes at it.
Yeah. And the thing that I had always worried about up to that point was like, okay, I'm training in the dojo and I'm deliberately trying to not hurt the other person.
Yeah.
But what happens if it actually happens to me and I need to hurt the person so that I can keep myself unharmed?
Well, yeah,
Anyway, so I almost
that's the
dislocated
thing.
his shoulder.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that's the thing though. Like they train you against other people that are studying the martial arts with you, and you're not supposed to hurt them. Um, but then we have some instructors that like our like 6'5" instructor. He's a big guy, and he lets us throw him around a bit because it doesn't hurt him as much. But I'm like,
Hmm.
it doesn't translate well. Like we need more realistic applications so we can know what to do in those circumstances better.
My sensei lets us start throwing each other around as soon as we're getting to like a kind of higher rank. Like all the brown belts, we're just consistently throwing each other around. It's our favorite thing to do is to get on each other's, just poke each other's nerves and um, throw each other to the ground. And we go half contact when we're sparring.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll spar without pads. He doesn't let people spar without pads below brown belt. And
Again,
just because lack of self
control.
control can
Yeah.
cause pretty massive problems.
Yeah.
So it's so much fun. Honestly, I prefer it that we get to throw each other around. It makes it so much more fun. Because, like, sure, I'm getting roughed up a little bit, but I in turn get to rough someone up, and I get to have that feeling of like actual physical exertion and actually like fighting to exhaustion.
Yeah.
Dude, some of our wrestling matches, um, a lot of the time with like, especially with knife techniques, like the start is the same, and we have like a set way to get to the finishing blow, and then he'll let us do whatever we want for that. We can take him down, we can break the arm, we can break a leg, whatever. So we've gotten into tussles where, like, someone will be coming at me with like the rubber knife,
Yeah.
and I'll do that technique, and I'll get into the position where I can do the final blow, and I'll take him down, and like we'll fight over the knife, and we'll like actually play out the situation until one of us taps, and it's
Oh
so much
gosh.
fun, dude.
Yeah. That.
Because
Uh,
as the attacker or the one being attacked, you get the full sense of like how combat flows and like the unpredictability of it all.
yeah, because you don't know what your opponent's gonna do next. It's completely random.
Yeah, and like there's a lot of honestly there's a lot of luck involved because sometimes your fist just goes slightly off,
Yeah, and then you miss, and then you're gonna get hit or something.
or like you're just hitting a different target.
Yeah.
Because if you aim a punch at the ribs, but you move a little too low, you're gonna hit like below the ribs, which is still a good target to hit because you got a kidney punch there, but it's not a rib shot.
Yeah. It won't. It won't. It doesn't do the same thing.
Uh huh. And there's a difference between punching the cheek and punching the temple.
Yeah, big difference. You punch the cheek, they're they're
Big, big difference.
they're gonna they're gonna get thrown around their head a little bit. You hit them in the temple, they could just go down.
Dude, you hit the temple hard enough, the entire skull collapses.
Yeah. Oh.
Like if there's anything you want to be accurate with, it's temple shots.
Yeah,
Because if
seriously.
you can hit those, you will genuinely be deadly.
Yeah, you'll be deadly. People will not want to go near you to fight.
All right, run one more story off yours, and then we
Okay.
can probably end there.
Ooh, let's see. I gotta find I gotta. Let's see. Um.
Here's one thing that's been on both of our lists. We've touched this just slightly, but what about Zoom meetings, dude? Classes over COVID.
Classes over COVID. Yeah. We'll do this one, and I'll do one more because it's a good
Okay.
one. Uh, but classes over Zoom during COVID. Everything went online. Uh, in our classes, we had usually 3 to 5 people and our instructor. We would just be doing it in our basement of our old house. We had a projector and we put the computer up next to the screen so the camera was showing on us and then we could see the screen big enough. Um,
Oh, gotcha.
but then there's like the issue of space that you don't usually you don't have that issue usually at the studio. We were like, there's like a couch behind us, and then like a stool near us, and then cables on the floor
Dude.
sometimes. And then there's also the issue of going off camera and then your instructor cannot see what you're doing. It makes it really hard.
Yeah, I had all of those problems as well. Because like if you go too far to the side, you're hitting a wall. But if you go too far back, you're hitting another wall. But if you go too far forward, I'm past the camera.
Yeah. And then they can't see what you're doing or anything really.
I mean, they can see the wall.
Yeah, that's about it though.
Yeah. Um. All right, give me one more story.
All right. I'm going to go with the summer camp one that I have. Um this story's really interesting. We do summer camp every year. Let's see. I'd say through the whole month of June, and then after in like the first week or two of July, maybe. But usually the second week or the first week of July is black belt testing. Um,
Mm,
during
yeah,
our what'd you say?
that's when we usually do ours as well.
Yeah. Let's see. During our summer camp, it's the whole month. We have longer classes. Every week. Usually they're about an hour. And then during summer camp, sometimes they bump them up to like an hour and a half for each class. And it gets really tiring, but we do some like intensive training, and then some of our instructors tell us like stories, do different like special classes. And this one class, our main instructor that runs the studio, he was telling us like the origin story of our studio and how it came to be. It started in Colorado. I think his mom started it. No, I don't remember, but something. And then they moved to Utah. Him and his brother started studios in Springville and Salem. And they had to paint the whole inside of the studio, get everything set up properly. And then at the end of his story, he brought out 2 cinder blocks and 6 bricks. Um, Now these bricks, he stacked them on top of each other, but they had like spacers in between, because trying to break
Uh-huh.
six
Yeah.
solid bricks, it would not go well because there's no like space in between. You'd hit the force of all the other
Yeah.
bricks. But they stacked the bricks with the spacers in between. He like breathes in and out, like really focuses on it, and just goes
Mm-hmm.
through all 6 bricks in one shot. And everybody was cheering so loud, and I was just astonished. I was like, "Oh my. How did you
What
even?"
strike did he use?
I think he used like a palm heel in the center of all the bricks.
Okay, I can
But
respect that.
yeah, I was like, "How do you go through all of those without like hurting your hand?"
Yeah, I fight open-handed, so I really appreciate when palm heel strikes get used.
Yeah, seriously. But it was summer camp has always been a fun time of the year for us. It was, let's see. Yeah, we always just do like intense training, different cool classes that we don't usually get to do during the rest of the year. And when you see them like do something like that, the brick break, or another time, I'm not gonna go into it, but we had our instructors. They did some forms for us, I think, of like their open hand. Maybe I don't remember, but it's really cool the stuff that you get to do.
Yeah. Um, Dude, the more I learn, the more I realize I actually don't know anything at all.
Oh my gosh, seriously, you're like I know.
It sounds backwards, but then you actually get learning, and you're like, wait, that's so true.
Yeah, you're learning all this stuff, especially in martial arts. You're like, oh, I'm learning all these techniques and stuff. I know like this much of our system, but then you go to the next rank and you're like, there's so many things on this list. Like, I don't hardly know anything.
Dude,
It,
okay, forms specifically are like there's a whole scale to them because when you're doing them, like when you're the rank that you learn them, they feel so long. And then you
and
go
so
up a rank,
hard.
learn a new form, and go back, and it's like this form's short and easy. What the heck?
Yeah, some of our forms that we're currently doing are like shorter than some of the ones we've done in the past. Like, I think when we did a green black belt it was pretty long, and then like one we did at, let's see, like blue, purple or blue belt, about halfway through the system. It was on the shorter side, but I guess it's just they for bleh. Our forms change styles about halfway through the system. We're going through like
Uh-huh.
the uh they're the Pyong forms. The Pyong means peace and confidence, and then at purple belt we learn Tokumini Bow, which is a form with our bow staff.
Mm.
Um, and then after that, we switch over to the Tegut forms, which each form has a different like meaning of an element. So like there was Tegut 6, which was water. Tegut 7 was mountain. Tegut 8, which is our current form, is earth. Um, I think we transferred to a different style of form after the current belt we're on, but the different styles have different lengths, and you go back to your old forms, and especially some of our beginning ones, that we learned years and years ago, we're like, oh, this is like really easy now, and it seemed really hard and really long at the rank which we learned it.
Gotcha. The form that I'm learning right now is, from what I've heard, 4 or 5 times the length of my second longest form.
Oh my gosh,
So
that's
what I've learned
that's
right
long.
now, about as much as 1.5 times that size. So I've got to do that again and then some.
Yeah, that's man. That seems like a really long form.
It's really fun. I love it.
Yeah, forms. You get to put together all these techniques. Um, you get to put together all the techniques, and they flow together, and just it's all sorts of different blocks, strikes, combo of them. Is forms are just I don't know. They're just really cool.
And there's no way a form will ever actually be exactly useful in a fight just because of how volatile a fight is. But you can take a piece of that form and use like 2 moves out of that form and just absolutely shred somebody.
Yeah, and then for our current rank, we actually have to create our own form. We have to pick
Dude,
a.
that's so cool.
It's so fun. We have to pick a Jumbi stance for starting, and then we have to come up with like 30 to 35 moves, I think, for our form.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not too
That
bad,
sounds like a
but
pretty short.
yeah, it's pretty short. But it's really fun, like coming up with your own like combinations of techniques and just putting all these things together that you haven't put together before. You just do them on their own separately, and you put them together, and they just kind of flow.
Mm-hmm.
And with creating my form, one of our instructors has said to me, just like, don't try and think about it too hard. Don't try and like think of a move, pick that, do that next. Just go with what your mind wants to do, and like your body, you just start doing techniques, and it'll just kind of like flow and piece itself together, which is what I've done for about the first like 10, 12 moves, I think.
Hmm. Yeah, I got you. So one of the biggest cheats I would say you should use is just like then turn and do it again.
Yeah, that's what a lot of our forms do, and I'm trying to make it like I'll have some parts that are like symmetrical, but then I also want some parts that are like my beginning part. It doesn't match anything else in the form currently because it's just its own thing. It's just its own sequence.
Hmm. So what if you ended doing it essentially backwards?
Yeah, that could be cool. The instructor that told me to just like flow with it. His form is called asymmetrical, and literally no part of his form is symmetrical at all to any other part. It's all different.
That's so cool.
And then on the same topic of
I feel like
forms,
if I made a form,
hmm?
I feel like if I made a form, it would be the same thing repeating like 3 or 4 times, and then I'd call it good. Because my fighting style is very the same moves. What is the word? Linear.
Yeah, it makes sense. On the same topic, what I was saying is when we go for when in our system when you go for black belt, you have to create a form to a song, and they call it's a musical form. And some of the ones I've seen over the years are just so creative and inspiring. I think the word is I'm looking for. In some of the musicals I've
It's really
seen,
cool.
they have other people come in and help them, and then they do like reflecting parts there where both people are doing the same thing, just facing like opposite directions, and
Hmm.
it's just so cool the things that people are able to create.
I can imagine. That's so. I'll be moving soon, which means I'm going to lose my current studio, and I haven't been able to like just doing research. I haven't been able to find another studio that I want to move over where we're going to be moving to. So I'm thinking, we're gonna have multiple sheds in our backyard. So I'm thinking I might convert one into my own personal studio, and then people around in the area can come over and train with me. I'm thinking that's what I'm gonna do.
That actually sounds like a really cool idea, and I would like to do it, but number one, we don't have the space to do it anywhere. And I don't think there's many people that live near us that do martial arts. So
Hmm.
we usually just practice in our
Yeah.
basement if we do.
Yep. I've been there. One of my best friends used one of my he used to be one of my best friends, but I've lost contact with him. He won't ever respond to me anymore. Um, we were we've been the same rank. We had been the same rank for about 6 or 7 years.
Dang,
So for a long time, we would hang out all the time, and every other week, we would like spend the night at the other person's house, and we would spar all the time. It was so much fun.
that sounds like a lot of fun.
It was so nice, dude. And honestly, I kind of miss him, but at the same time, I guess I've just moved on. I'm different from what I used to be, so I wonder if we'd even still be able to be friends with how I am now.
Yeah, it's interesting. People change over time, and sometimes you lose contact, and then you're like not the same as you were years before when you were friends, and so it's hard sometimes.
Yeah. Anyways, we've turned into philosophers. We're not even talking martial arts anymore. We should.
Something popped in my head real quick. I was telling my cousins a couple days ago. Every year in October we have tournaments. Uh, we have a tournament, and it's a bunch of different studios throughout Utah. Uh, come to it. And one of my instructors at our studio, he has broken 2 people's noses. One of them was his brother's nose. He kicked, trying to hit the side of the head, and accidentally hit him in the face and broke his nose. I don't know how he broke the other person's nose, but it sounds like very powerful kicks.
I mean, there you go. Like we said, kicks are the skill cap. We've
Yeah.
come full circle.
Yeah. Came full circle with balance, then we came full circle with self-control, and now we've come full circle with the kicks.
Which means we're repeating ourselves, and we should probably stop talking.
Yeah. I think this is probably a good
So,
point to end. We're at, if we, let's see, yeah, about an hour and 10 minutes right now.
Before we say
Yeah, we should end here so your editing doesn't take much longer, because we're trying to accelerate to weekly now. So, thanks everybody for tuning in to episode 2 of the Clawcast, and I'll catch y'all later.
Yeah, we'll see
Peace
you guys
out.
later. Thanks for watching and, listening, but, yeah. Peace. We'll see you next time.
this ain't goodbye. We'll be back someday, and we will find our way. Take control of our fate, and like a car with no brakes, crash and learn, make mistakes, and we'll be back one day.